So this is very interesting. Hive A on the left is super covered by bees. I don't think they're swarming. Kind of hope not. I don't want half my hive to leave, but boy, are they up to something. Wow. Maybe I've got a swarm going on. Dang. Well, so there's the other hive. It's got activity, but nothing like this. That's got to be that there's a queen outside. Dang, maybe they're swarming. They shouldn't. They haven't outgrown. Well, what do I know? But I don't think they've outgrown that the brood box by any stretch. My goodness. Well, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what those sort of clumps are on top of, like if there was a queen. But I don't think I'd be able to see her. It's not that hot. I've never seen him do this before. At least not my hives. Oh, hey guy. Gal. Actually in shade right this minute. Well, the front of the hive is. The sun is over to the west enough. It's about 3 p.m., a little after 3 p.m. I'm not sure how long they've been doing this. They weren't doing this a few hours ago because I went by. Anyway. And they're just pouring out, but others are pouring in. The other hive is busy and active, but not like this. Not nearly like this. I just saw out the window that there was this huge dark spot. Came to check it out. The sugar water is pretty weak, I think. So what that is, I took the remnants of the sugar that was in the tops of both hives that I had put in there over the winter, and I just put it in a bag and I was going to throw it away, and then I thought, well, that's a waste, so I kind of crunched it up and stuffed it in those two bottles or jars or plastic feeders, and then just poured water in it and let it sort of dissolve. So it wouldn't have been very much sugar. Something else I didn't even think about when I did it is I didn't pay particular attention to what sugar was from what hive. I just mixed it all together. I assume they don't care, but and then I just stuck those in there. I figured those would drain down. They would suck that down in a day or two, and well, they've eaten some of it. I don't know. I mean, this is really cool if that's just a sign of a really active hive. And I've seen hives do this before. It was usually when it was a lot hotter out, and I thought they were trying to get air into the hive. I don't think it's hot enough for them to be doing that today. I certainly wouldn't think so. Don't know. I'll keep watching. If they do this again tomorrow, I'll know it wasn't a swarm, that they're just super excited. Man, I really want to see what's under that one big pile of them. I'd rather not get stung, but I also, oh, no, so I'm terrible at spotting a queen, but the couple of times I've seen a queen, I knew it when I saw it. Whereas sometimes I'll just see bigger bees and think those might be the queen, but then I think those are probably the males. I don't know about this. And for what it's worth, this is really how close I'm standing. I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and they just don't seem to care about me really at all. Every now and then one will fly up kind of in my face and check me out, but okay, that is a lot of bees. Now, they are just absolutely evacuating that place. That is nuts. Look at them hanging down. Either the whole thing, either they've decided they don't like their home, or I don't know what to think of that at this point. That is a lot of bees. Wow. Look at it under there. That's got to be like the whole hive. That's crazy. Look, there's guys dancing though. Was that? Man. All right, well, we're back out here. It's about 6 o'clock now, so it's been an hour or two since I was last out here. I think earlier I said it was around 3 p.m. and it was probably a little later than that. That was a bit of a guess. I know this wasn't going on. They weren't doing this around 1 or 2 because I drove by and I didn't notice anything like this. And then I just happened to see it out the window, sometime probably around 2 or 3 o'clock. And then, it grew and grew sort of up the side of up the front of the hive, and then they started congregating down underneath, and now they've moved to this big blob hanging down from the landing ramp. And to be honest, I can't tell if that's more or less bees. It looks like less just because they're not all over the front of the boxes, but there's, I think, a bigger kind of blob down below, if I can see that. So not sure what to think. I mean, if I saw that thing hanging from a tree, I would just assume it was a swarm, but being on the front of the hive like this, I don't know. I've seen bees do that on a different, much bigger hive, but it was in the middle of the summer when it was really hot out, and I assumed it was because they were keeping cool or trying to blow air into the hive or whatever. Definitely does not seem hot enough for them to need to do that out. I'm actually kind of, it's late March, and I don't know what the temperature is out here, but not much above 70 probably at this point, with the sun starting to go behind the trees and everything. Definitely not like a hot summer day or anything. So not sure what to think. I'm just going to keep watching them and see what they do when it starts getting darker. I mean, I guess I'll either, if it's a swarm, I assume at some point it's gonna fly off and go do its own thing. And if this is just what they decided to do today, I assume they'll all go back in and go to bed later. All right, we'll see. Okay, well, it's about 7:15. I think the pile has shrunk a little, maybe. Still kind of a big blob of them under that landing board, and they're still returning. I can hear them fly by me every now and then, but yeah, I guess they're slowly kind of coming in a line and going back in. I'm trying to watch, so this is interesting. I'm trying to watch and see if a bee from the knot of them, yeah, so there goes one. Interesting. So every now and then a bee from that big blob under the ramp will kind of walk up the pile and onto the ramp and go marching in the door. So they seem to be going back in. So they were just out here for a while. So there came one. That guy just landed. Gal. That bee just flew by me, coming in for the evening, landed, and kind of cut in line, I guess. But anyway, yeah, they're slowly working their way up from the clump and just going on inside. There go several of them. What a funny little parade. So interesting. And so meanwhile, the other hive is pretty much gone to bed. A couple of them in the door there. Well, they just left and came back, but those guys have gone to bed. These guys they just had a real day today. Just thousands of them under there. Man, oh man. Okay, well, I'll check back again in a little bit. All right, well, one last check. It's just a couple of minutes after 8 p.m. and there's still a good chunk of them underneath that landing board, but it does look like there's less, and there aren't really any on the front of the boxes. And it seems like they're just slowly making their way in. They are making an awful lot of noise. And there don't seem to be any, flying by me anymore. They're pretty much, I think everybody that was out and about has come back to the nest. And now just every now and then I'll see one kind of work his way up and around and get in line to go in the door. It's really kind of interesting. And I'm thinking I may take that sugar water feeder out of their doorway later tonight or tomorrow morning. Maybe they just need more, maybe they need a bigger door. So anyway, this has been really interesting. It'll be interesting to see what things look like in the morning.